was a profound personal commitment which defined her whole life.
A royal courtroom. Silent. Tense. Prince Harry walks out, defeated, crushed, not over money or titles, but over his family's safety. King Charles, battling cancer, has just unveiled the Queen's final will, and it changes everything. Now, royal secrets are exploding. Harry and Meghan? Stunned. Prince Andrew? Furious. Some get everything. Others? Left with nothing. The monarchy's polished image is crumbling. And behind palace doors? Chaos. Betrayal. Heartbreak. This isn't tabloid gossip. It's the untold royal crisis that could destroy the crown from within. What did the Queen hide? Who inherits her true legacy? Stay with us. You won't believe what comes next. The Royal Will Revelation. The Security Battleground. May 2nd, 2025. Royal Courts of Justice, London. The moment everything changed. Prince Harry emerges from a courthouse, his face a mask of devastation. 5 years of legal warfare just ended in the most crushing defeat imaginable. The headlines scream it. Harry loses. Security stripped. Family divided. But here's what those headlines don't tell you. This isn't just about bodyguards. This is about a system that's designed to break you if you dare to leave. Think about it. You're born into the most protected family on the planet, surrounded by armed guards from the moment you take your first breath. Then suddenly, nothing. You're on your own. The numbers are staggering. Harry's legal fees alone are approaching $2 million. $2 million. Most people don't see that much money in a lifetime, and Harry just burned through it fighting for the right to feel safe in his own country. Here's where it gets really twisted. In 2020, when Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, a shadowy committee called Ravec made a decision. No more automatic protection. No more certainty. Just a cruel game of maybe we'll protect you, maybe we won't, every time you want to visit home. But wait, it gets worse. During those court hearings, Harry's lawyers dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the system. They claimed Ravec had singled out Harry for different, unjustified, and inferior treatment. Pop stars get better protection than a prince who served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan. And the evidence they uncovered? Harry told the BBC something that should terrify every parent watching this. People will be shocked by what's being held back. What could be so dangerous, so threatening, that it's being hidden even from the courts? Harry inherited threats at birth for life. He's not just any celebrity. He's a military veteran who fought Taliban fighters face to face. The kind of enemies he made, they don't forgive. They don't forget. The cruelest twist of all? Harry believes his father could end this nightmare with a single phone call, one conversation, one intervention. But instead, silence. The Royal Will Revelation. The father-son fracture. February 6, 2024. Clarence House. A scene that would break your heart. King Charles, fresh from revealing his cancer diagnosis to the world, sits across from his younger son for exactly 30 minutes. 30 minutes? That's less time than your average sitcom episode. And Queen Camilla? She's right there in the room, like a referee making sure nothing gets too emotional. This wasn't a reunion. It was a formality. A checkbox meeting between a dying father and his desperate son. And it was the last time they'd speak face to face. Since that day, complete radio silence. Harry's calls go straight to voicemail. His letters pile up unopened on some palace desk. When Charles was hospitalized in March with complications from his cancer treatment, how did Harry find out? Not from family, not from friends. He read about it online like the rest of us. Let that sink in. A son learning his father might be dying through a news alert on his phone. "I don't know how much time my father has," Harry told the BBC, his voice cracking with emotion. "He won't speak to me because of the security stuff, but it would be nice to reconcile." Can you imagine? Your dad has cancer. Time is running out, and he's choosing legal strategy over his own flesh and blood. But here's the part that will make your blood boil. Sources close to the palace revealed something that changes everything. Charles isn't just ignoring Harry out of stubbornness. He's terrified, absolutely terrified, that anything he says privately will end up in court, in a memoir, or splashed across Netflix documentaries. The trust is so completely shattered that a father won't comfort his son because he's afraid it'll be used against him later. Think about your own family for a second. What would it take for things to get that broken? What would have to happen for you to literally refuse to speak to your own child while you're fighting cancer? Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams put it brutally. In a nutshell, the royal family does not trust Harry. Not dislike, not disapprove. Don't trust. And William, Harry's big brother, who walked behind their mother's coffin with him when they were just kids, he's completely ghosted him. Calls, texts, messages, all ignored. The brother who promised they'd always have each other, gone. But the most devastating part is coming next. The royal will revelation. The children caught in the middle. Santa Barbara, California. A sunny morning that should feel like paradise. But for Harry, staring out at the Pacific Ocean, it feels like prison. His children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Yes, they do have their royal titles, despite what you might have heard, are growing up 5,000 miles away from their heritage. Not because they chose to, because their father is literally afraid to bring them home. Here's the fact that'll stop you cold. When Harry lost a security case, he told the world, "I can't see a world in which I will be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point." Read that again. A British prince saying he can't bring his children to Britain because it's too dangerous. Archie is now 6 years old. 6. He was born in London, but he might never safely see his birthplace again. And little Lilibet? She's 3, with bright red hair just like her daddy, and she may never know the country that made her father who he is. The things that they're going to miss is, well, everything, Harry said, and you can hear is heartbreaking. I love my country. I always have done, despite what some people in that country have done. Picture this. Archie asking his dad about castles and palaces, about great-grandma Elizabeth who he barely remembers, about why they can't visit the places Daddy talks about in bedtime stories. How you explain to a 6-year-old that Grandpa Charles won't make sure they're safe? But here's where it gets even more emotional. Sources close to the family reveal that Archie and Lily are described as incredibly smart, articulate, and fun. They're living in what one insider calls the family's happy bubble in Montecito. Meghan shares glimpses of them making bagels, picking berries, painting pumpkins, normal kid stuff. Yet Harry knows what they're missing. He told People magazine about his hopes for them. To grow up in a better world, a fairer world, a safer world. But how can he give them that world when half of their heritage is locked away behind security concerns? The bitter irony? These kids are royalty. When Charles became king, Archie automatically became Prince Archie of Sussex, and Lilibet became Princess Lilibet of Sussex. They have titles their great-grandmother would have been proud of. But what good are royal titles when you can't safely set foot in the kingdom? There's something Harry said that should haunt every parent watching this. I think that it's really quite sad that I won't be able to show my children my homeland. A father who can't share his own country with his kids. A grandfather who won't ensure his grandchildren's safety. A family tree that's been chopped down by lawyers and security protocols. But while Harry's children grow up in exile, another royal is fighting his own battle for home. The royal will revelation, Andrew's Royal Lodge crisis. Royal Lodge, Windsor, once the picture of royal elegance, now a crumbling monument to one man's stubborn refusal to face reality. Prince Andrew paces a 30-room mansion that's literally falling apart around him. Paint peeling off the walls like dead skin. Mold creeping up the exterior bricks like some horror movie. And Andrew, he's out there doing his own gardening because he can't afford the staff anymore. The numbers are absolutely staggering. Property experts estimate it costs between $5 and $6 million PR year just to maintain this place. $6 million. That's enough to buy a luxury home every single year just to keep this one house from collapsing. But here's where this gets juicy. King Charles dropped the hammer. No more $1.3 million annual allowance for his disgraced brother. No more $4 million a year for security. The message was crystal clear. Move out or you're on your own. Charles even picked out Andrew's new home, Frogmore Cottage. You know, the place Harry and Meghan lived before they fled California? It was like offering someone a studio apartment after they'd been living in a mansion. A royal size slap in the face. Andrew's response? pure defiance. He told friends he was going nowhere. Moving out would look like publicly accepting guilt for all those Jeffrey Epstein allegations. So he dug in his heels and somehow, mysteriously, found the money to stay. But where did that money come from? Here's where the story takes a dark turn. Reports suggest Middle East money is bankrolling Andrew's resistance. Mystery investors with deep pockets and questionable motives keeping a disgraced prince in his palace. The Sunday Times confirmed that Andrew's funding has been approved by Sir Michael Stevens, the keeper of the Privy Purse, as coming from legitimate sources. But legitimate doesn't mean transparent. It doesn't mean clean. It just means legally acceptable. Meanwhile, the house is literally rotting. A gardener from historic royal palaces took one look at Royal Lodge and said, "It is in a shocking state. I won't be knocking that into shape. It is impossible." Picture this. A member of the royal family so desperate to avoid looking guilty that he's living in a moldy mansion, doing his own yard work, burning through mysterious foreign money just to avoid admitting defeat. And the cruelest irony? Charles wanted to move Prince Edward and Sophie, actual working royals who serve the crown, into Royal Lodge. People who deserve it versus someone who refuses to leave it. But Andrew's stubbornness is just a symptom of a much bigger disease eating away at the royal family. The royal will revelation, the trust breakdown, behind the closed doors of Buckingham Palace. There's a word that gets whispered more than any other these days: trust, or rather, the complete and total absence of it. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams dropped a truth bomb that explains everything. In a nutshell, the royal family does not trust Harry. Not dislike, not disagree with. Don't trust. Think about that for a second. This isn't some business relationship gone sour. This is family. And they don't trust him. Why? Because every private conversation has a potential to become a Netflix documentary. Every family dinner could end up in a memoir. Every moment of vulnerability might be dissected in a courtroom or splashed across international headlines. King Charles is literally afraid to comfort his cancer-fighting self because he's terrified it'll be twisted into evidence later. Imagine being so paranoid about your own son that you can't even have a private conversation while you're battling for your life. But here's the part that'll blow your mind. It goes both ways. Harry doesn't trust him either. During his court hearing, he hinted at evidence so damaging that revealing it would shock people. What kind of family secrets are so dark that they can't see daylight, even in a legal proceeding? William has completely cut Harry off, not just ignoring him, actively blocking him out of his life. The brother who stood with him at their mother's funeral, who shared the deepest trauma imaginable, treats Harry like he doesn't exist. And it's not just the immediate family. The entire royal institution has circled the wagons. Palace staff, security teams, advisors. They all know that anything they say to Harry could end up being used against them. It's like living in a family where everyone's wearing a wire. The breakdown is so complete that when Harry makes his rare visits to the UK, he stays in hotels. Hotels. A prince of the realm can't even sleep under a royal roof because the trust is so shattered. Meanwhile, Andrew's situation shows just how desperate the family dynamics have become. Charles cut off his own brother financially, knowing it would force him into the arms of questionable foreign investors. The king would rather have mystery money from the Middle East funding his brother than deal with Andrew's scandals directly. But here's the most chilling part. Sources close to the palace reveal that Charles might be avoiding Harry not just because of trust issues, but because of legal strategy. Anything the king says privately could be used in court. A father treating his son like a hostile witness. Brothers who can't speak. A family so broken that lawyers have more influence than love. The institution versus the family. The crown versus blood. And guess which one's winning? The royal will revelation. The media chess game. Every move is calculated. Every word is weaponized. Every silence screams louder than any statement. Welcome to the most dangerous game in the world. Managing the narrative when your family IS the story. Harry's walking a tightrope that would terrify most people. On one side, his desperate need to tell his truth, to defend his family, to explain why he made the choices he made. On the other side, The very real possibility that every word he speaks drives a knife deeper into his relationship with his father and brother. Take his BBC interview after losing the security case. Raw, emotional, devastating. "He won't speak to me because of the security stuff," Harry said about his cancer-fighting father. Those 8 words made headlines around the world and probably guaranteed Charles will never pick up the phone again. But what choice did Harry have? Stay silent while his family's safety hangs in the balance? Let the palace control the narrative while his children grow up in exile? Here's where it gets really twisted. Meghan has mastered the art of moving forward. Netflix show? Check. Lifestyle brand? Check. Instagram empire? Check. She's built an entirely new identity that doesn't depend on royal drama. But Harry? He's trapped. His biggest moments still circle back to his royal past. The Invictus Games military service, court cases royal security, charity work, continuing his mother's legacy. Even when he tries to move forward, the past pulls him back like quicksand. And the British tabloids? They're having a field day. Every Harry headline sells papers. Every royal rift generates clicks. They've turned family trauma into profit margins, and both sides know it. But here's the move that changed everything. Harry's settlement with Rupert Murdoch's News Group newspapers. Substantial damages were paid, but what secrets got buried in that deal? What information was so damaging that one of the world's most powerful media empires paid up rather than fight? The palace's strategy is brutally simple. Silence. Won't engage. Don't explain. Don't defend. Let Harry exhaust himself throwing punches at an opponent who won't fight back. It's psychological warfare disguised as royal protocol. Meanwhile, every time Andrew appears in public, it's a reminder of scandals the family can't escape. Every photo of him at Royal Lodge is a symbol of how the family enables dysfunction when it suits them. The chess game is rigged. Harry needs media attention to survive financially and protect his narrative. But every interview, every revelation, every moment in the spotlight pushes his family further away. It's a game where the only winning move might be not to play. But when your children's safety is at stake, when your father is dying and won't speak to you, when your entire identity has been stripped away, how do you stop playing? The end game is approaching, and nobody knows who'll be left standing. The royal will revelation, the monarchy's uncertain future. Here we are, the moment of truth. The question that keeps palace insiders awake at night. Can the British monarchy survive its own family? King Charles III wanted his reign to be about modernization, about bringing the royal family into the 21st century, about healing the wounds left by his mother's rigid approach. Instead, 2 years after his coronation, his legacy is being written by family chaos. Think about it. Every major headline about Charles involves dysfunction. His brother living off mysterious foreign money in a crumbling mansion. His younger son fighting him in court while refusing to speak to him. His heir apparent completely estranged from his only sibling. The New York Times put it perfectly. Charles's reign is becoming both eventful and oddly unchanging in its core narrative. That of a beleaguered father managing a messy brood. But this isn't just about family drama. This is about the future of an institution that survived for over 1,000 years. When your own flesh and blood can't stand to be in the same country as you, how do you convince the world that you represent unity and tradition? Here's the terrifying reality. Archie and Lilibet are growing up as strangers to their royal heritage. They know Disneyland better than Buckingham Palace. They understand California's sunshine better than British tradition. In 20 years, when they're adults, will they even consider themselves British? The Commonwealth nations are watching. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, countries that still recognize Charles as their head of state, are seeing a king who can't manage his own family. How long before they start questioning whether they need this dysfunctional circus representing them? And William? The future king is learning that being royal means choosing the institution over everything else, including your brother, including family bonds that once seemed unbreakable. He's becoming the kind of monarch who puts duty above blood, just like his grandmother did. The cruel irony is that Elizabeth II spent 70 years building the modern monarchy's reputation on stability and family values. One family photo with the Queen surrounded by her children and grandchildren was worth 100 speeches about tradition. Now, the family photos are impossible because half the family can't be in the same room. Some royal watchers believe this could define Charles's entire reign, that unless he finds a way to heal the rift with Harry, history will remember him not as the king who modernized the monarchy, but as a father who chose the crown over his son. Others argue it's already too late, that the damage is so deep, the trust so shattered, that reconciliation is impossible. Harry and Meghan have built a new life in America. Their children are American citizens with British titles they may never claim. The bridge isn't just burned, it's been obliterated. But here's what nobody's talking about. Charles is 76 years old and fighting cancer. Time isn't unlimited. William will be king sooner than anyone wants to admit. And when that day comes, the wounds of today become the permanent scars of tomorrow. The most powerful family in Britain has become the most broken family in Britain. A father and son who can't speak. Brothers who become strangers. Children growing up in exile from their own heritage. The British monarchy has survived world wars, scandals, divorces, and revolutions. But can it survive the complete breakdown of the family that represents it? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the fairy tale is over. What comes next will either be a remarkable story of redemption and healing, or the slow-motion collapse of an institution that forgot that at its heart, it's still just a family. And families, even royal ones, can break beyond repair. The crown may be eternal, but the people who wear it are heartbreakingly, devastatingly human. What do you think will happen next? Can this family ever heal, or is the damage too deep? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story shocked you as much as it shocked us, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more royal revelations that the palace doesn't want you to know. The truth is stranger than fiction, and we're just getting started.